Good evening, everybody. Can I just have a measure of how many of us are from ad agencies or media agencies? And how many of us are from brands? Okay. Can we get the charts up here as well, please? So, let me start off by asking, what comes to your mind when you hear the word online advertising? Anybody? What comes to your mind when you hear the word online advertising? This session is framing an effective online advertising strategy. What comes to your mind when you hear the word online advertising? What's that? Advertising your brand in online space. Perfect. Anybody else? Yes, please. Very low time spent for the customer. Okay? Yes, please. It makes the merchant spend a lot of money but doesn't really help. I thought since morning we have been hearing that online is the way to go because it is the cheapest medium of communication and messaging. Okay, but your point is actually absolutely fair. Yes, please. Google and Facebook ads. Okay. Now let me ask a question. Can any one of you think of the last display advertisement that you saw and even now you remember? Nobody? Yes, please. Display advertisement. You remember it because you saw Katrina in an ad on TV. I'm talking display advertisement. Nobody? Yes, please. I am in Kolkata, no comments to that. Okay. How many of you remember a television ad that you last saw? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Other people don't watch television? Okay. Well, what's that?
They keep surfing.
Right. Right. But even then, nobody remembers a display advertisement. So here is the interesting statistics about online. When you think about online and when you compare it to television and radio and media and all other efforts, I know there have been conversations since morning, but please note, nobody ever remembers a display advertisement that they saw online. People remember good social media campaigns. People remember good social campaigning. People remember a story. People do not remember a banner. So one fundamental flaw. So when I started working on the presentation for today's talk, one fundamental problem for me is there is really no ROI to what we call as online advertising. Should that mean that we should all shut off the shop and go home and continue TV? Absolutely not. So that's what we will talk about today. What does online advertising really mean? How can it actually be implemented to provide a value or an ROI to the brand? Can I get the presentation up here, please? So, as I was saying, nobody remembers a display ad. People only remember good social campaign. So now, can somebody name a good social campaign that they recently saw and still remember? Anybody? Yes, please. What's that? MTV Roadies. Great. Anybody else? Any social campaign that you recently saw and still remember? Voting for your Indian Idol. In fact, every communication related to any reality show, any TV promotion, anything that has a rendition online is a social campaign that gets remembered. Yes, please. Perfect. Okay. So, as we are looking at, so here is kind of the split and the dichotomy of what we see in the online world. On one side, we start talking about online advertising, where a lot of the brands, they come back with the communication or they come back with the strategy saying, I have X amount of money. I need to reach out to this particular audience. Can you please come back to me with a media plan? I run a social media agency, have been doing it for the last 5 years, and I can tell you, I have never seen a brief which is anything other than saying, I have this much amount of money, I want to reach out to this kind of people, what do I do? And more often than not, I have to go back to them and say, work on your brief is what you need to do. In online media, and here is a very interesting aspect of online, which differs in a lot of ways from what you would do in a print, what you would do in in television and other mediums. In online, communication needs to be developed one-on-one. Of course, it is developed for a set of audience, but the communication is always one-on-one. So you need to not look at, here is the amount of money that I want to spend, but really look at, here is the audience that I want to reach out to. Here are the attributes or the communication that I want to reach out to the audience with. And then kind of take the next step forward and saying, here is the budget that I want to allocate to this particular audience for this particular message, and here is how I'm going to build. So in some ways, every online advertising strategy really first needs to start with the basic of what is going to be your social strategy. By social strategy, by no means am I saying have a Facebook account, have a Twitter account, have a blog participation, forum participation, what have you. You may only do display advertisement, only do display online advertising, but that display online advertising better be your social strategy for communication with people in the online world. So in the morning we heard Mahesh talk about the various touch points that are impacting search now. It's your normal SEO, it's your blogs and forums on the left side, it's your paid advertisement SEM on the right side, it's your videos and communication you put on YouTube and other places, it's the participation that you do on other websites, it's your bloggers network and stuff like that. Now that's important. So coming up and thinking about here are all the touch points that you want to manage is important, but fundamental to doing that is you need to come back, sit back and first figure out what is the creative strategy or communication that you will take out to those people with. Is the presentation there? $20 billion. Now what's important about $20 billion? So this is a chart about the US ad spending versus the space that is available, and there is corresponding numbers I couldn't get for the Indian industry, but in terms of the messaging it's the same. The fallback between what is the amount of time that people spend in the online world and the total amount of ad spending that gets done is still hugely different. And I can tell you, we see a lot of brands that will do some online campaigning for 3 months, 6 months, maybe a year, figure out it doesn't work for them and then walk away. The problem is not that online did not work for them. The problem really is that the implementation of online happens at a very ad network kind of a basis, which doesn't provide good ROI. So online behavior patterns. People spend on an average 9.7 hours. 9.7 hours, which is second only to general browsing, is the time that is spent on social networking sites. Huge amount of potential exists there. It's much more than the time people spend on emails, much more than the time people spend on any of the other mediums. Also, here is a very interesting statistics, and I hope you guys can read all the statistics here. Essentially, people who are active on social networking sites are people who are opinion makers, are people who are influencers, are people who talk. They are the people who become brand custodian for every brand. I know in the morning we had talked about brand custodian versus who is the actual owner of the brand, which is the user. These are people who become the actual owners of the brand. Online is not advertising. I know a lot of brands make that mistake. They think about online as advertising. They think about online as where do I put my next advertisement, but it's not advertising at all. So what I want to talk about today is not framing an effective online advertising strategy, but really framing an online marketing strategy. In fact, I would say framing an effective online engagement strategy, not even marketing. It goes to the level of framing an effective engagement strategy, because internet as a medium is the only communication method that is available to us to communicate, to have a two-way engagement with your user base. I love this. Dear online ads, you suck. You can only work if social strategy for a company is clear and is built with that. Let me tell you why. Online ads, they are intrusive. They ask and they demand too much. Multiple different ads at different places. They keep on, everybody has a call for action. Everybody wants you to take something. Just doesn't work. They don't tell a story. Have you guys seen any display advertisement ever that could tell a story? No. Unless it is coupled with a good social communication. Now, whether that social communication is on your Facebook, whether that social communication is on television. But unless a display advertisement is coupled with a good social strategy, social engagement strategy with your user, it just doesn't work well. They provide very weak branding. Very weak. Specifically for brands who want to look at how can I bring salience into my brand, online advertising is just not the place to be. It's the age of content. Online display advertisements are still only about the copy. They don't provide enough meat to the person to engage. They just provide a headline. People don't like talking to headlines anymore. This is how we see the online world moving. 5 years back, when I started OM Logic, we were in a position where online was about search. Right now, in all the communication that we do, we are talking about online as about social. And I can tell you, make no mistake, online is going to be all about content. It's not going to be social only. It's only going to be driven by the content. So companies that are looking at developing these fantastic Facebook pages where they do general communication which talks about Sachin Tendulkar completing his 100th century and Saurav Ganguly not being part of the IPL Kolkata team and stuff like that, just not going to work anymore. People want true content. People want content that they can't get anywhere outside. People want content and communication that relates to the brand that they are talking about. Let me give you an example. We did this campaign last year during the monsoon season, which was about planting 1 million trees in Delhi. Huge effort. And it's a campaign that the government does every year, and they have varied degrees of success. The year before, so when they did the campaign in 2010, they were able to plant some 3 lakh trees in the city of Delhi. In the year 2011, they coupled that with a digital strategy, where we did a Facebook page, a Twitter community, we did a blog, and we did some communication in different blogs and forums. We did a couple of very small virals. It's government, so they didn't give out much money because we had to be within the tendering limits. We had 2 days. Anyway, so they didn't have much money, but we still evangelized the communication for that particular Plant a Million Tree campaign, took it to online. Result? We got 1.75 million trees planted in 6 weeks of monsoon. 1.75 compared to 3 lakhs. So a 5 to 6 time increase that we were able to get in terms of the seeds that were planted. Of course, I'm not going to sit here and talk about how many of them will actually live after 2 years, because there is a different campaign that needs to be done to ensure that they live after they are planted. But in terms of planting, I mean, 1.75 million compared to 3 lakhs, wow. Purely based on the fact that this year, not only did they put those shelters on the bus stands, which nobody ever notices, we went online. And you know, the communication, the best part of the campaign was, it wasn't about the fact that people noticed us online. It was about the fact that people could come in and ask, hey, I saw this banner somewhere, what does it mean? Hey, I want to plant these 100 saplings near this park in my area, where do I get the saplings? Hey, I want to do this. I tried calling up, nobody answered, what do I do? It was purely about developing a two-way communication where people could just come in and talk, and huge success. Now, every communication we will put, there will be a lot of comments, a lot of likes, a lot of people who will share the content. This is another interesting initiative we are doing. As you can see, we do quite a bit of work sitting in Delhi with the Delhi government. How many of you guys have heard the word BRT, Bus Rapid Transit System? That's it? Okay. If it was Delhi, I think 90% would have heard it. How many of you think it's a good thing? How many of you think it's a bad thing? Wow, this is the first time I have asked the question, and there are more people saying it's a good thing than saying it's a bad thing. If you go and talk to anybody in Delhi, they will tell you it's a terrible, terrible, terrible thing to happen in the city. You know why? It's the same aspect of what Narendra was talking about a little while back, truth versus belief. Nobody who has a perception that BRT is bad has the facts right. So what did we do? We went out and we said, we are not going to tell anybody BRT is good. You know what? People are not interested in listening to that. People already have a perception. We started off a community called as Delhi Loves Buses. No mention of BRT anywhere. Delhi loves buses. And you know what? Most people love buses. We started evangelizing them by talking about, hey, do you remember the time when you were in college and you used to go in this bus every day, and there was this girl if you are a guy and a guy if you are a girl that you always used to ogle at? Share that story with us. You know, people who always say they had a terrible time going through DTC buses in Delhi will come back with an interesting, romantic, engaging story. Nobody came back and said, hey, we never had such a good time. We never met anybody in the bus. We never had anybody we ogled at. I did not see a single communication like that. Now, we started this, and it's a campaign that we are doing to evangelize BRT implementation in the city. So we started out talking about buses. Again, this is how we built the social engagement strategy. We didn't start off a campaign saying BRT is good and spend millions of dollars putting together communication everywhere. We started talking about a social engagement strategy. Talk about the buses. Talk about what did they get out of the buses. Slowly talk about the problems that they have with the buses today. Talk about the fact that Delhi needs a better public transportation system. Talk about the fact that buses form a very integrated part of the public transportation system. Talk about the fact that people need to be more acceptable of the pains that a BRT will cause to the car drivers because it is required for the city. And you know what? Now let's talk BRT. And it's working. It's working. We have a petition that we took live, I think, 3 days back. We got 400, 500 people already signing the petition saying, we want BRT, we want buses in Delhi, we want the public transportation system to improve. And oh, by the way, I am talking about those people who are not traveling in buses. I'm talking about those people who are not traveling in a cycle rickshaw or not traveling otherwise. People who are driving their cars, coming up and saying, yes, we want a public transportation system. That's the power of social. Can you build that engagement strategy and build a roadmap through which you get the right communication to the people? So how do you do that? First question to ask, what is your product about? And I can tell you, there are so many companies, and I think Gitanjali was mentioning that in her talk. She asked the person doing Coke Studio, why do you want to do Coke Studio? Because we need to do Coke Studio. What is it based on? It's based on Coke Pakistan. But what do you want to achieve at the end of the day? I want to achieve Coke Pakistan. You know, most companies have a perception of their product, which is an internal communication, an internal perception of what the brand is. They don't understand the product from a customer standpoint as to what is it that the customer is looking for. So that's the number one question that we always ask. What's your product about? What do you want to promote? No, Tata Tea wants to do a Jagore campaign. Idea wants to do a campaign, What an Idea Surgery. All great campaigns. And they define what is it that the brand is looking to promote as an external communication, and around that, what are the various attributes of the brand associated with it. That's important. You can't just go out and say, here is my budget, here is my target audience, and do something about it. It just doesn't work. You need to think about what is it that you want to promote. And more often than not, what is it that you want to promote is dependent on who do you want to promote it to. Who is your TG? So, for example, we were working with a company that is in the business of selling 11th and 12th class training programs for IITs and all of that. Tell me one thing, what should be the communication for them? Is it a fun-loving brand that provides good, way of learning? Or is it a very serious brand that provides good education? Which one do you think is better? It's a fun-loving brand that makes learning fun, or it's a serious brand that makes learning fantastic? Yes, please. Okay. I'm a student. I'm not a student. I'm a fun-loving 11th class student. Do you think I really worry about the result? My parents asked me to do IIT. I'm an engineer only because my parents asked me to. I worry about result. Actually, the answer is none. It depends on who you are communicating to. When we took that brand to LinkedIn, where we are talking more to the parents, we said it's a serious brand that is going to teach your kids what they need to learn. Oh, when we took it to the gaming websites, we talked about how it was such a fantastic product that will make learning fun. It was the old story. So how we kind of came up with it is, you guys remember those, old movies where they will have a person who is reading a book. Parents think he is such a smart kid who is reading a book, and he is actually either watching a porn or reading a novel or reading a comic. That's exactly what we wanted to do with this communication. Who are you looking at promoting it to? Are you looking at promoting it to the parents? Different communication. Are you looking at promoting it to the kids? A different communication. Now, again, there are other multiple attributes that could be associated with the brand, which will define who is the communication for, and that is what you base it out on. What value can you add? Very important. I mean, if I have to choose one thing in your entire social strategy, it's this one. What value can you add? Are you there just because my competitors are there? Or just because somebody told me Facebook is such a cool place to be at? What value can you add? I can tell you, and oh, by the way, I am by no means saying we don't promote the message saying Sachin Tendulkar, congratulations, you just scored your 100th ton. Absolutely promote it. Can you leverage that message and bring salience for yourself? Let me give you an example. I do a brand, work on a brand where the communication is spirit of achievement. They always talk about achievement, achievers, and what is a person able to achieve. Now, we will go into that community and put in a message saying, hey, great job, you are a great achiever, and use the brand salience, the brand tonality, and put the communication. Now, a piece of news, which is a topical news, suddenly became something which built salience for my brand. Why will they engage with you? So yeah, I want to provide this particular value. I want to build this kind of a methodology. Here is my communication. Why will they engage with you? Think about the touch points. And the touch points are not just, so don't just think about what are the goodies that I will provide. A lot of companies these days get too boggled down by, hey, social, Facebook, let me run a contest, provide some goodies, I will increase the size of the goodie and more people will come. You know what? Actually, that doesn't happen. Even if there are more people who come in and participate in the contest, we don't see enough people who will remember the brand that they participated in for. A classic example for me will be, we do social media for HBO. We have never in my history of 20 months of doing HBO given out anything other than a stupid sippy cup for HBO. I don't call it stupid when I go to HBO. But anything other than a stupid sippy cup for HBO or something similar to that. The maximum price that we ever gave out was a 500 rupee gift voucher for a restaurant for you to have dinner in. That's it. Nothing more than that. I know in competition somebody will give out a BlackBerry, somebody will give out a trip, somebody will give out something or the other. So when you think about why would they engage with you, don't just think about a contest. If you think about a contest, this is exactly what's going to happen. Hey, I commented you back, now leave me alone. If I win, send me my goodie. If I don't, never come back. Now, once you have done all of this, is when you need to go back and say, hey, how do I actually reach out to these people? So your advertisement are not step one of where you begin your online advertising or online marketing or online engagement strategy. It is actually step 6. It's the last step where you pull all the pieces of the puzzle together. And you say, now that I have my communication ready, now that I know my target audience, now that I know exactly how I will reach out to them, let me figure out what are the avenues that are available to us. This, oh, by the way, is the easiest piece of the puzzle. This takes the least amount of time. There are way too many great companies that are already in the business of providing online display advertisement who will tell you what are the right modes or what are the right areas to participate in and what are the right areas to talk in. Now, I have a series of other charts which I will go through very quickly because I want to leave time for conversation and time for you guys to ask questions as well. So these are the brands that in some ways got famous in 2011. Oh, by the way, I'm talking about brands which used very little television, but a lot of the communication was done by social communication. Okay? I include Har Friend Zaroori in this particular chart as well because a lot of the success of social media of Har Friend Zaroori got driven by social conversations. It was a primarily TV campaign, but a lot of the communication was very social in nature. So this was the Har Friend Zaroori campaign, an innocuous campaign. In fact, in the 12 years of history since Airtel has been doing online, or has been doing marketing campaigns, this was the first successful campaign, as they call it. This was the first campaign that provided them with some reasonable amount of results. To the point that they initially did not realize, but later on they were scampering to even sell Har Friend Zaroori merchandise. I'm sure a lot of you guys would have seen it already. Compare that with the rebranding exercise Airtel did 3 years back. This is all they got for it. This was the only piece of communication that I saw in the entire internet world where they talked about Airtel rebranding of the logo. Again, it was an intrusive campaign versus an external campaign. Now, this is where we are right now. We are a very fickle society. Have you guys heard this before? Fickle society? Okay. Our preferences of brands, our preferences of what we want to buy or not buy, our preferences of what we want to do or not do keeps on changing at a very, very rapid pace. We right now live in a world where brands are made and destroyed in hours. Not even days, not weeks or months, in hours. We live in a world where a Kolaveri campaign becomes a success in 48 hours. 48 hours. We live in a world where a brand equity for a brand can get destroyed by 50-60% in a matter of days. Purely based on what kind of preferences or what is the perception of people associated with the brand. So let me take an example. There were 2 accidents that happened back to back. 2 days in a row. There were 2 accidents that happened in Delhi Metro, 2-3 years back. 2 accidents back to back. Okay? Nothing in the press. Nothing. Nobody came out and said, Delhi Metro, he's doing anything wrong. Nobody came out and asked for anybody's head. Nobody came out and asked for anything. People just said, this happens. Why? No. Purely people's perception of the brand. So in a lot of ways, we as marketeers are constantly struggling with what do we do? This is what the brands are looking for. Every marketeer, if you talk to any brand owner right now, he says, give me a campaign where I don't say anything bad, I don't hear anything bad, I don't see anything bad. Every brand is looking for this. You know what? Not going to happen. The result? Us marketeers are starting to become very socially desperate. So at one point I talked about the brands that are doing online advertisement. On the other side, brands who have accepted social are starting to become very socially desperate. They don't really look at, or there is not enough correlation of what is it that the brand salience they are looking at building versus what is it that actually gets done. Engagement के लिए कुछ भी करेगा. Have you guys seen, how many of you guys have seen brands right now putting communication which is totally irrelevant, you don't know why it's there on a brand page? Just incredible amount of purely putting thoughts purely for the purposes of engagement. Contests, freebies, what have you. The theme of the day right now, please join my community, I'm fun. Talk to me, please. Please, please. Brands will go to any extent to do that. I will pay you if you do. So, what do I do in social? Now, this is a very interesting campaign we did a couple of years back. It was called the Yatra Cricket Manager. Now, Yatra came to us and we had a conversation about, hey, what can we do for Yatra, an online travel company, to associate them to cricket? And the insight that we used for the campaign was, what do cricketers do the most? They play cricket. Number 2, they travel. A close third will be endorsements. But number 1 and number 2 are going to be, they play cricket and they travel. So what we did, we built a game for them during the time of World Cup last year. And we said, hey, you guys come in, become the manager of Team India 11, and you in a simulated environment will move these cricketers from one place to the other. And we added all sorts of gamification to it. So the best piece of what we did was, we gave them a simulated Yatra booking engine. So anybody who was coming and playing the game is getting educated on how to use the Yatra booking engine. Isn't it cool? What more can you do for a brand? No, anybody who was coming there was actually making hotel bookings, actually making travel bookings. And we even gave them the option saying, hey, Sachin Tendulkar is not going to travel economy class. These players at the bottom, they can travel economy class. They can stay in shared rooms. This guy needs a presidential suite. These are the hotels. And we gave them all of the options. And then we said, no, players are going to travel once every 4 days. What do? We gave them other things. We said, hey, Yuvraj is out of form. He needs to go out and, party. This guy is totally bogged down. He needs to go see a doctor. This guy is doing this. Harbhajan hit a hotel staff. Take care of it. Srisan did this, is in the prison right now. Go get him out. And every time there was a morale meter, there was a fitness meter. So we made the game cool. But the thought process was the entire game was not about cricket. The entire game was about the mode of traveling. Cricket was a byproduct that we leveraged around the entire mechanism. Again, another campaign to true engagement. This is the reason I'm very proud of this campaign is during this campaign, we offered absolutely no goodie, absolutely no price. It was very simple. There is a Bond festival, there is a James Bond movie that is going to come in the night. You come, you play the game, you make what you think will be a good Bond girl for you for tonight while you watch the movie, and that's it. You publish it to your friends, you share it with people, and you are done. No gratification, nothing. Huge amount of response because it was actually related to the brand that we were promoting at the time, which was a James Bond festival. Be clear, and I wouldn't go through the details of this chart. I think we have had enough conversations about it since the morning. Authenticity and transparency need to be very clear. If you think you have a brand that has something to hide. So for example, we recently started working with a real estate player. I wouldn't name the company. We recently started working with a real estate player, and the first meeting we had, we told them, if you think you have something to hide, please don't go on social. I mean, we won't hold it against you, but just don't go on social. If you think you got money from people and you are actually going to delay the project by 5 years and you are already sure you're going to delay it by 5 years, you know what? Come back in 3 years, we'll think about social. Don't go now. So you as a brand need to be clear. Okay, and problems will happen. I mean, we have had a couple of discussions in the morning also. Problems will happen. Go own up to them. Hey, just go tell people, hey, this is what happened. This is why we had to do this, and just live with that. I know since the morning we have been talking a lot about owning up, and we have been talking about, hey, if somebody comes up with a feedback, quickly just go out and respond to them. But I want everybody to be very careful while doing that. It's not. I mean, it's important that you respond back to people in the fastest amount of time possible, but be careful and sensitive while you do that. Let me share an example with you. This is a screenshot from HBO. Somebody came in and he put in a comment once saying, I was watching HBO yesterday, and it was a movie that was showing on HBO. It had the word gay in it, and it was struck off. Now, I am a gay person. I am very proud of it. What is yours? Is this your sensibility as a brand that you struck the name gay off? You know my response to that? I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. I can't even respond back to this post and say we will get back to you, because I don't even know if HBO as a brand will get back to them. You can see 6 hours later, the guy comes back and say, hey, should I even expect a reply? And we said, we are only going to reply once the brand tells us what is the response. And we went back to the brand and we gave them a sample response of what we thought was right. But I can't do it. And you know, my HBO brand manager on the other side told me, I don't know what to tell you. Let me run it past my legal. Let me get clearances from my brand owners sitting in the US, and I will come back and tell you what is it. And they came back with a good response. They came back and they say, it's not our sensibility as a brand. We respect everybody's preferences as they are, but the movie came at a time which was during the daytime. It was being watched by immature audiences who may not understand the full implications of the word gay, which is why we struck it off. Perfect response. Nobody came back, complained, nobody came back with anything, but this response was vetted by the legal team in HBO before we put it on. So reputation management is critical, important, but be careful. If somebody had gone in and responded to this query in any other way, it would have been a nightmare for the brand overall. Friends referral. I know in the morning, Mahesh had shown a chart where he said the number one criteria of how people make their purchases is listening to people that they know. No, that's the important aspect of when you build your social engagement strategy. It is not about acquiring friends. It's not about building a fan base on Facebook at all. Important is, can you get a group of people, have them recommend your brand to their friends and expand your network? If you can do that, the fact that a friend recommended that brand to his friend will mean your salience as a brand, the trust on you as a brand is going to be that much more. If you just keep on acquiring fans by doing Facebook ads, and I know Facebook ads can give you very tremendous, dramatic results in a very short span of time, but if you just keep on doing that, it's not going to build salience into the brand. Because somebody joined the brand only because they saw something. Whether they liked it or not, doesn't matter. Most people, when they see an advertisement, will tend to like the brand unless it is very offensive to them. And last, definitely not the least, keep your fingers crossed. Remember, of 10 campaigns that you will do, 1 will be amazingly successful, 4 will be medium successful, 5 will be failures. Ensure your customer knows that. Ensure you are acceptable of that. Ensure your entire pitch and everything takes care of this. So let me stop, ask for questions. Anybody has any question? Yes, please. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
First question is, how do we reach out as an online advertising strategy to people who are not online actually? They do check their mails, they should browsing sometimes. That is the first question.
Mm-hmm.
Second is, online advertising does not identify or distinguish between target audiences widespread. It hits all audiences at the same time. Your target audience actually may not be the young or the old or the male or the female audience.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So this is where, so absolutely a fair question. Actually, let me answer both questions in the same vein.
I'll just add to it. The difference with the electronic media and the print media is that in the print media, you have options to, reach the target audience via a specific newspaper or magazine or a class of print publications. But here, you're not discriminating.
Okay. Actually, that's not entirely true. For the most part, in the online media, you can distinguish between audiences and actually choose people that you want to target your ads to. Now, let me qualify that. I am not just talking about qualifying ads in terms of the demographics on where does it appear to. The message that you will put on the advertisement can be catered such that only a specific set of audience will be interested in listening to it. Let me give you an example. We manage the Facebook community for Teacher Scotch. Okay? Now, Teacher Scotch as a brand, their mission statement is spirit of achievement. I mean, it's a liquor brand, so of course they always do surrogate marketing. Their mission statement is spirit of achievement. When we started the Facebook community for them, it was all about spirit of achievement. The kind of messaging that we put there, the kind of engagement that we built there was something that somebody who is under 25 years of age or somebody who is not an achiever themselves will not even relate to. So your youth, your audience, which we say is the Facebook audience, will not be interested in that. We had tremendous amount of engagement while we did that. Tremendous amount of engagement. I mean, a post on a 50,000 people community will have 5,000 likes. That level of engagement is huge. Now, Teacher Scotch incidentally came up with a product which was and they want to compete with the Chivas Regal and the Johnny Walker, and they want to compete with the higher end of Scotch, not compete with the Blender's Pride and Old Monk and some of the lower ends of the whiskey. They want to compete with the higher end of the Scotch. They came up with a product recently. I don't know if it's available in Kolkata, or I don't know how many of you would have seen it. It's called Ready to Drink. It comes in a can. Okay, it's a premixed can which has a little bit of Scotch. And it has either cola or soda. It comes in 2 different versions. And that can now is a replacement of beer. Okay? Now, the fact that it's a replacement of beer, the entire community that we were targeting to shifted. The communication they want to do now is very youth-centric. It's very towards audience which wants to just go have fun on Facebook. It's not achievers community anymore. What we saw, as soon as we shifted the communication, we didn't do anything other than that. We shifted the communication from achievement to fun. The engagement completely died down. Completely died down. Okay? Now, of course, over the last 4 months, we have again built the community, and a lot of people who we have added on their Facebook now are those youth audience. So the engagement is coming back. But when we made the shift, it completely altered. So when you do online, it's not just about on your advertisement, display ad, how you will go target and where you will put it, but it's also about the communication. Remember when I was talking about the example of the 11th and 12th class preparatory exams? If you are building an ad that you want the parents to click, tell them it's a tool which will help their kids learn very fast and get into IIT. If you are taking the same message to the student, tell them it's a very fun, interactive learning environment. Fun and interactive over on this side, pure learning, educational, and is going to help your kid become an achiever on the other side. Kids versus the parents. And that's how, so you will take out your social communication and bridge it out to, here is my audience, here is my message, here is how I will target them. You might at times run the same site, do a display advertisement of two different kinds. One which targets the kids, one which targets the parents. One which target your category A audience, one is B, one is C, one is D. So you may end up doing that, but it's important not to think about medium only. It's very important to think about your message, your audience, your medium. All three combined are going to provide you the value. In terms of looking at the audience which is not online, how do you reach out to them? For them, you will have to figure out where do they go online. So in a lot of ways, when we, for example, I gave the real estate example, when we were looking at real estate, we said, hey, a lot of people don't go on Facebook and look for a real estate company, because really, no real estate company, and I don't know about Kolkata if some brand has done that, but at least in the Delhi NCR area, I can tell you there is no brand in real estate that has leveraged social media well. So people don't go on social media and look for a brand's presence. We said, if you are going over there, look at what are the touch points. A person who is looking at buying a home is interested in parenting, is interested in home and gardening, is interested in career growth, advancement, okay, is interested in Hollywood, maybe not just Bollywood movies, but Hollywood movies. So it's a more aspirational kind of a community, specifically if the product that the real estate player has is more high-end. So you look at what are the touch points that these people might be and communicate to them and talk to them, go over there. So as I said, by no means am I saying that go out and look at building a Facebook page for yourself. I'm saying go out and look at a social engagement strategy for yourself. The implications or implementation of that social engagement strategy may be on television or radio or print or somewhere else. But the important thing is that social engagement strategy. What story do you want to sell to your target audience, and what's the target audience, and what's the value you provide? So these 6 steps is what you need to do. Okay? Now, sure. Mm-hmm.
Everybody is a very vivid user of Google. We enter every day and you search so many information and
Mm-hmm.
But what the audience also needs to understand is what is happening behind the scene. If we search Google for 5 or 6 or 10 days, Google is so intelligent that it really understands a lot many things which I can even comprehend of. It understands my age, my browsing habits, so and so forth. Everything, and from 7th point onwards, from 7th search onwards, it will start showing me all those content which probably I might be looking for. So this is probably just an answer to what he was saying.
So a tip on that, if you want to do a search and you want your search to be influenced by the searches that you did in the past, keep your Google account that you are logged in on. If you want to get search results which are totally independent of whatever you have done in the past, please log out of your Google account and then do the search. It will provide you tremendously different results.
That's right.
Yes, please.
Since morning, we have been talking about, transparency in dealing with the social netizens, let's say, consumers, right? So, so that is one part of the story. When you are talking about online strategy, which you have been explaining, I was just thinking how important it is, because I have been doing this for a little bit of research on the travel and hospitality type of companies, because they are very active on the social front, right? Which channel is important for you? See, there are several platforms, right? There can be a Foursquare, there can be a Facebook. So Facebook might, just an example, Facebook might click for Hyatt, but it's not clicking for Hilton.
It's not?
Let's say it's not clicking for Hilton.
Okay.
Okay. So what might click for X may not click for the Y, both being in the same kind of business. So what I think is, how do you tackle when you do this strategizing for social media, which channel or which platform to select, first of all? How do you address that?
Okay. So, number one, when we are building a comprehensive social strategy for our customers, we divide the channels into two different parts. One is a channel where we say, hey, build your presence and just leave it at that. But have a presence there so that if somebody wants to communicate and find you, it at least helps you in social search, so to speak. And then there are mediums where we say, go do very active communication. Okay? For the most part, and I can't actually, and I spend a lot of time thinking about this, but I can't come up with a brand where I will say Facebook is not important. Facebook right now in social media has become a platform which is important for every brand. And it becomes the fulcrum of social strategy for most of them. There are a few cases where it may become a second important channel, but I can't think of any brand right now, and please tell me if anybody here can. I can't think of any brand for which Facebook is not important. But how we take it beyond Facebook is where we look at the mediums. If, for example, the real estate example that I mentioned, over there, instead of talking about blogs, what is very important for us to do is talking about Yahoo groups. Because a lot of these real estate communities, as soon as they buy something, they will go sign up into 2 or 3 Yahoo groups associated with that, and that's where all the messaging happens. So you can go to a Mouthshare, but nobody is going to come up to mouthshare.com and talk about a real estate failed project. They will go to these Yahoo groups. So Mouthshare may not be important for us. Facebook, because it provides a medium for people to interact, talk, and really for the brand to build its credibility, is still going to be there. Twitter probably also going to be there. Beyond that, what do you do is really dependent on the particular brand. So medium, I would say Facebook and Twitter in some ways are must have for every brand. That's like you have doing your hygiene and then looking at what are the tools, what are the mediums where you do your marketing. I know people will say, hey, there might be brands for which Facebook is not important, but I as a social media individual owning an agency, managing 40, 50 different brands at any given point of time, don't know of any brand for whom Facebook may not be important. Okay, I think I've run over time, right?
I just have one last question, sorry.
I'm sorry,
I just have one last question. Yeah.
Sure.
See, this summit, with due respect, is about digital and, social thing, right? Mm-hmm. And if we look at the future, and I asked this question in the morning also, one of the important aspect of, the success in the social world is also local, which is my location intelligent.
Absolutely.
Okay. I mean, yeah, we can market whatever we want on Facebook about our brands and all those things. But what also really plays an important part is the proximity. And I can very, very important. And I want to know your views about embedding of this location intelligence into your social strategy. And have you done this for any brand as such?
Absolutely. One of the things that we have done is we tend not to take global clients because there is nothing called as global social strategy for a company. It is always location based. Within the spectrum, so you have to now break it down. Global, not gonna happen. I can't think of any single brand that can do a global strategy except for if you're talking about global warming. Okay? Take that down. Can you do a country specific campaign? Yes, you can if your product is a national product. Yeah. Okay? Then take it down. If your product is a local product, you will need to do your branding, your social strategy and everything within that area. Now, when we look at such brands, how we do it is, for example, we are working with a real estate portal, a listing portal. For them, what we do is we will do communication for them at different points. There will be a level of communication, let me just stick to Facebook for a second. There will be a level of communication which will be related to homes, which will be related to the aspirational value of a house and stuff like that, which we will do at a national level.
Yeah.
Then there will be a builder specific promotion for a particular project a builder is doing in a specific area. We will do it based on the city. We will target that particular message to people living there. Similarly, when we do events promotion.
How do you tap living there? That's the point, right? So you build a social page, and this page is about a builder in Delhi, in Delhi, in let us say South Ex. Okay, I stay in Pitampura or I stay in Dwarka. It is really far off from the place of promotion or the place of happening, the point of interest, right? Yep. So the disadvantage I think is, and you can correct me, my proximity is really far off from the point of interest, and even though I like it, I might not really go there because it's too far off once again.
Yeah. So when I will put the message, what we try and do, our message will be very specific to that community. Let me take Delhi as an example. If I'm putting a promotion for something, and I know my target audience is in the Janakpuri in the northwestern belt, Okay,
But
my
how do you
message
know?
is going to
Sorry.
be so Punjabi in nature, that somebody sitting in South Delhi may not even read it. I already know that the community over there is of a certain kind. They talk a certain lingo, they walk a certain lingo, they understand a certain lingo. My messaging will only be that. So somebody living in South will not respond to that. It's not that I can always do targeting and say it's only visible to those people. I may not be able to do that. But let me be truthful to my audience, and even though I'm sending a message that is not relevant to them, I'm straight away telling them it's not relevant to them, don't read it. So we do such kind of localization. Of course, outside of Facebook, when we do other participations, the localization is much more realistic. So when we are doing this Delhi Loves Buses campaign, I think people in Kolkata would not even have seen the campaign. There is no way you can see it in Kolkata, because our entire communication is very Delhi oriented, because it's a Delhi based problem.
Yeah.
Can we do mashups on the GPS phone, so that when you're traveling with the GPS phone and
Yeah.
accessing Facebook, it will come popping up those kind of advertisements pop up?
I don't think it is fully feasible right now. That definitely that level of localization is where we will get to eventually. Right now it's not feasible. One problem with the display advertisement world actually is a lot of the large portals don't let you do enough targeting.
Okay. Yeah, last thing on my side. I'm sorry for disturbing people, but this is a
Last thing, if there is anything else, we'll take it offline. I wouldn't refuse questions, but I will take it offline.
perfect.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, so what my colleague just said, okay, probably offline I can show it to you about this, location intelligent thing. I have written an app onto my, this Android platform. What it does is, when you go around the city, when you go around Calcutta, so it is built for Calcutta as of now. What it does is, I will sign up for the first time that, okay, I am interested in men accessories, I am interested in real estate, I am interested in automobiles. So whenever I cruise along the city, if any promotion is running in the periphery of or the proximity of 300 meters, I get real-time alerts. So it solves two problems. One is, it is according to what I like, and it is approachable also. So the chances of conversion from a prospect into lead are much higher. So this was the point which I was trying to bring in, that
Yes.
how do you
Absolutely.
tackle it?
So two answers to that. Number one, such kind of applications when integrated in a good social campaign works out fantastic. The problem with such applications is how do you drive awareness and how do you drive registrations on such application. Second, if anybody in this room wants to think about a good promotional campaign and wants to think about how to socially do real time and how to socially do relevant engagement, look at this example. He just promoted his application to a room of 150 people in a true social manner without being intrusive to anybody. With that, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.